Good morning. So it's Mark the Evangelist Day today, and our reading is all about being able to face up to persecution and live in Christ in hope through that. But Mark the Evangelist is what we're supposed to be celebrating today. It's really interesting to note that nobody really knows who Mark was. The gospel was written in the shadow of the fall of Jerusalem to the Romans about 70 AD, and clearly it's unlikely at that stage that the original Mark from the Gospels was there. People think it might have been, for instance, the Mark who wrote for St. Paul. But we don't know. What we do know is that Mark's gospel is incredibly insightful in certain situations. So this year it's been fascinating for me, loving Mark's gospel, to see how it relates to the things we've been through lockdown. I'm in my kitchen today. Dinner is sort of pretty much ready to go. So the vegetables are in the pans and all prepared to go. The casserole is in the oven. But I know that when we get to the end point, when we have to do service, things go a bit mad. There's a bit of frantic work goes on to get food on the plate. Everything has to be hot. Everything has to be at the same time. And having worked in kitchens, I also know that's a frantic time as well. So Mark's gospel is written in the face of really difficult times when people were probably fleeing for their lives from the Romans, dealing with stuff that was immediate. Yet there are other times, like now in the kitchen, when everything is calm and relaxed. Mark's gospel helps us to add that energy of what do we do now? How do we respond to the empty tomb? And it's written really from the perspective of people who are powerless. So I love Mark's gospel because it helps us work through some of the real difficulties we face when life's in extremis. My Mark library is not hugely extensive, but it does give me lots and lots of thoughts. Mark's Jesus is a sort of roaring, bounding lion racing through the story of Jesus. And then, and immediately, everything happens. It starts with the good news of Jesus Christ. We don't get a birth narrative. We rush straight into Jesus being there, being active, and having a ministry. And it leaves us with a question. It leaves us with the empty tomb. We don't hear about any of the sightings of the risen Jesus or anything like that. It leaves us with a question. Are we going to meet Jesus in Galilee? And how are we going to do it? I love that. And as we come out of lockdown slowly but surely and steadily, there will become a time when we're no longer sitting in the quiet kitchen with our preparations made, and we're going to have to bound into action. So as we do, I commend Mark's gospel to you as we look to bound into the future, as we're let out of the gates and just get stuck in. The waiting is nearly over, and it's time to think very carefully about what we do next. God bless, and enjoy the journey.